Hello, everyone. Today we're going to learn another 10 common idioms, phrases, and sentences that native English speakers use every single day. These expressions are super useful, and I promise by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what these expressions mean and how to use them naturally in your own conversations. Here's how you can get the most out of this video. First, listen while reading the subtitles. This will help you catch every word and follow along more easily. Then, play the video again and try to repeat the sentences out loud, but this time without reading the subtitles. This will really help you improve your pronunciation, listening, and speaking skills. Don't forget to pause and write down any new idioms or phrases you like. That way, you can remember and review them later. This is a great way to boost your listening, reading, and speaking, all at the same time. This lesson is a fun and simple way to improve your English step by step. Before we dive in, if you're finding this helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe. It helps a ton, and I really appreciate your support. All right, let's get started with our first expression. Number 1, better than nothing. Let's start with a really practical phrase that you'll hear all the time. Better than nothing means that something isn't perfect or exactly what you wanted, but it's still okay because having something is better than having nothing at all. It's like when you're settling for something that's not ideal, but you're being positive about it. Native speakers use this phrase when they want to show they're being grateful or realistic about a situation, even if it's not their first choice. It's a way of looking on the bright side when things don't go exactly as planned. Let me tell you about my friend Sarah. Last week, she was really excited about going to this fancy restaurant for her birthday, but when she got there, they told her they were fully booked. She was disappointed, but there was a small cafe next door that was still open. She looked at her boyfriend and said, "Well, it's not the fancy dinner I wanted, but it's better than nothing." And you know what? They ended up having a wonderful time at that little cafe. For example, if you're looking for a job and you get offered a part-time position when you really wanted full-time work, you might say, "It's only part-time, but it's better than nothing." You might hear something like, "I know this apartment is smaller than what we wanted, but it's in a great location and it's better than nothing." Here's another one. "The weather forecast says it might rain during our picnic, but at least we'll have that small tent. It's better than nothing." Have you ever been in a situation where you had to settle for something that wasn't perfect? This phrase is perfect for those moments. Let me know in the comments if you've ever used this kind of thinking in your own life. Number 2, she's a keeper. Now this is such a sweet expression. When someone says, "she's a keeper," they mean that a woman is really special and worth keeping in your life for a long time. It's usually used when talking about romantic relationships, but you can also use it for really good friends. The idea comes from fishing, when you catch a fish that's so good you want to keep it instead of throwing it back. This phrase is often used by friends or family members when they meet someone's girlfriend or wife, and they really like her. It's a way of saying, "She's the kind of person you should definitely stay with because she's amazing." I remember when my brother first brought his girlfriend Lisa to our family dinner. She was so kind to everyone. She helped my mom in the kitchen without being asked, and she made everyone laugh with her funny stories. After she left, my dad pulled my brother aside and said, "Lisa is really something special. She's a keeper, son." My brother just smiled because he already knew how lucky he was. They've been married for 5 years now. For example, your friend might say to you, "I met your girlfriend yesterday, and wow, she's so smart and funny. She's definitely a keeper." You might hear something like, "My son's been dating this girl for 6 months, and she's just wonderful with our whole family. She's a keeper for sure." Here's another one. "When I saw how patient she was with my crazy dog, I knew she was a keeper." This phrase shows that someone has really good qualities that make them worth having in your life long term. Do you think you've met anyone in your life who you'd describe this way? Share in the comments. Number 3, hard to tell. This is such a useful phrase for everyday conversations. Hard to tell means it's difficult to know something for sure or to figure something out. You use it when you're not certain about something because you don't have enough information or the situation is confusing. Native speakers use this all the time when they're being honest about not knowing something for certain. It's more natural than saying, "I don't know," because it explains why you don't know. It's because the situation is unclear or complicated. Just yesterday, I was walking with my neighbor, and we saw this new restaurant that just opened. There were some people inside, but we couldn't see very well through the windows. My neighbor asked me, "Do you think they're busy?" I looked closer and said, "It's hard to tell from out here, but it looks like they have at least a few customers." We couldn't see clearly enough to know for sure how busy they really were. For example, if someone asks you, "Do you think it's going to rain today?" and the sky looks cloudy but not too dark, you might say, "It's hard to tell. The clouds look gray, but they might just blow over." You might hear something like, "I can't figure out if my boss is happy with my work or not. He doesn't show much emotion, so it's hard to tell." Let's take this one. "She said she'd call me back, but that was 3 days ago. It's hard to tell if she's just busy or if she's not interested anymore." This phrase is so helpful when you want to be honest about uncertainty. Have you ever been in a situation where something was hard to tell? I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Number 4, what floor are you going to? This sentence is incredibly practical because you'll hear it almost every time you're in an elevator with other people. It's simply asking which floor someone wants to go to, and usually the person asking is standing near the elevator buttons and offering to press the button for you. This is one of those polite, helpful questions that strangers ask each other in elevators. It's a small act of kindness that happens every day in office buildings, hotels, and apartment buildings. When someone asks you this, they're usually already pressing buttons for their own floor, and they want to help you too. Last month, I was visiting my doctor's office in a tall building downtown. When I got in the elevator, there was a businessman already inside, and his hand was near the buttons. As soon as I stepped in, he looked at me with a friendly smile and asked, "What floor are you going to?" I said, "5th floor, please," and he pressed the button for me. It was such a simple, nice gesture that made my day a little brighter. For example, when you step into an elevator and someone is already there, they might immediately ask, "What floor are you going to?" and then press the button for you. You might hear something like, "I'm going to the 10th floor. What floor are you going to?" This happens when you both get in the elevator at the same time. Imagine this. You're in a hotel elevator with your hands full of luggage, and another guest asks, "What floor are you going to?" because they can see you can't easily reach the buttons yourself. This is such a common, everyday question that shows how polite people can be to strangers. Have you noticed people being helpful like this in elevators where you live? Let me know in the comments. Number 5, I could be wrong. This is such an important phrase for sounding natural and humble in English. "I could be wrong" means you're not completely sure about what you're saying, and you're admitting there's a chance your information or opinion might not be correct. It shows that you're open to being corrected and that you're not trying to sound like you know everything. Native speakers use this phrase to sound more polite and less pushy when they're sharing information they're not completely certain about. It makes you sound thoughtful and reasonable, not arrogant. It's especially useful in conversations where you want to share your thoughts, but also show that you respect other people's opinions. I was having coffee with my coworker Maria last week, and we were talking about our boss's new project. Maria said she thought the deadline was next Friday, but then she quickly added, "But I could be wrong." I didn't write it down when he mentioned it in the meeting. It turned out she was right about the date, but I really appreciated how humble she was about it. It made me feel comfortable to double-check the information without feeling like I was questioning her. For example, if someone asks you about the weather tomorrow, you might say, "I think it's supposed to be sunny, but I could be wrong. You should probably check the weather app." You might hear something like, "I believe the store closes at 9 p.m., but I could be wrong. We should call ahead to make sure." Here's another one. "It seems like Tom is upset about something, but I could be wrong. Maybe he's just tired from working late." This phrase makes you sound so much more natural and considerate in conversations. Do you ever worry about sounding too confident when you're not sure about something? This phrase is perfect for those situations. Share your thoughts in the comments. Number 6, I'm lost. Now this is a phrase you definitely need to know. "I'm lost" has two main meanings. The first and most obvious one is when you don't know where you are physically, like when you can't find your way to a place. The second meaning is when you're confused about something someone is explaining, like in a conversation or a class. Both meanings are super common in everyday English. When you're physically lost, this is the most natural way to ask for help. When you're confused about something, saying, "I'm lost," is much more natural than saying, "I don't understand," because it shows you were following along at first, but now you're confused. 2 weeks ago, I was trying to find a new coffee shop that my friend recommended. I was walking around the neighborhood for about 15 minutes, checking my phone and looking at street signs, but nothing looked right. Finally, I saw a friendly woman walking her dog, so I went up to her and said, "Excuse me, I'm lost. Do you know where Sunrise Coffee is?" She smiled and gave me perfect directions. I found it in just 5 minutes after that. For example, if you're driving in a new city and you can't find your hotel, you might call your friend and say, "Hey, I'm lost. Can you help me figure out where I am?" You might hear something like, "Sorry, can you explain that math problem again?" "I'm lost." This is when you're confused about something in class or during an explanation. Let's take this one. "I was following your story about your vacation, but when you started talking about the train schedule, I got lost." Both meanings of this phrase are so useful. Have you ever been physically lost in a new place or confused during a conversation? Those are perfect times to use this expression. Tell me about it in the comments. Number 7, do you have any siblings? This is one of the most common questions people ask when they're getting to know each other. Siblings means brothers and sisters, so this question is asking if you have any brothers or sisters. It's a friendly, personal question that people often ask when they want to learn more about your family. This question usually comes up in casual conversations when people are sharing information about their families. It's the kind of question you might hear at work, at school, when you're meeting new friends, or even on dates. It's considered a normal, polite question to ask because family is an important part of most people's lives. I remember when I started my new job last year, I was having lunch with some of my new coworkers. We were all sharing stories about our weekends, and one of them mentioned her sister. Another coworker, James, looked interested and asked her, "Do you have any siblings besides your sister?" She laughed and said, "Actually, I have 3 sisters and 1 brother." Then everyone started sharing stories about their own families. It was such a nice way for all of us to get to know each other better. For example, when you meet someone new at a party, they might ask, "Do you have any siblings?" And you could answer, "Yes, I have 1 older brother and a younger sister." You might hear something like, "I'm an only child, so I always wonder what it's like to have siblings." Do you have any siblings? Imagine this. You're talking to a classmate and they mention family dinner, so you ask, "That sounds fun. Do you have any siblings who were there too?" This question helps people learn about your family background and often leads to interesting stories. How would you answer this question about your own family? Share in the comments. Number 8, fill her up. This is a really interesting phrase that you'll hear at gas stations all the time. Fill her up means to fill the gas tank of a car completely, all the way to the top. The her refers to the car, and even though it might sound a little old-fashioned, lots of people still say it this way. You can also just say, "Fill it up," which means the same thing. This phrase comes from the old days when gas station attendants would pump gas for you, and you'd tell them what you wanted. Nowadays, most people pump their own gas, but you might still hear this phrase when someone else is helping you, or when you're talking about filling up your tank. Just last weekend, I was on a road trip with my dad, and we stopped at a gas station. My dad got out of the car and said to me, "I'm going to fill her up so we don't have to stop again for a while." While he was pumping gas, an older gentleman at the next pump was talking to his wife and said, "Should I fill her up or just put in $20? His wife said, "We have a long drive ahead, so fill her up." It was such a classic conversation that you hear at gas stations everywhere. For example, when you're at a gas station with a friend who's driving, you might say, "Should we fill her up now, or do you think we have enough gas to get home?" You might hear something like, "The gas prices are pretty good today, so I'm going to fill her up while it's cheap." Here's another one. "We're going on a long trip tomorrow, so I need to fill her up tonight and check the oil too." This phrase is so American and practical. Do you drive a car, and have you ever heard people talk about their cars this way? Let me know in the comments how people talk about cars in your country. Number 9, how do you like it? This is such a versatile question that you'll hear in so many different situations. How do you like it? Is asking for someone's opinion about something. You're asking if they enjoy it, if they think it's good, or what their feelings are about it. It's a friendly way to ask someone what they think. You can use this question about almost anything: food, movies, jobs, places, experiences, or anything else you want someone's opinion about. It's more casual and conversational than asking, "What do you think about it?" And it sounds more natural in everyday English. Last month, my friend Emma moved to a new city for work. When I called her after her first week, I asked, "So how do you like it so far?" She told me all about her new apartment, her coworkers, and the restaurants she'd tried. It was the perfect question to let her share her overall feelings about this big change in her life. She said she was nervous at first, but she was starting to really like her new city. For example, if your friend orders something new at a restaurant, you might ask, "How do you like it?" After they take a few bites, you might hear something like, "I heard you started taking guitar lessons. How do you like it so far?" This shows you're interested in their new experience. Let's take this one. "You've been living in this neighborhood for a few months now. How do you like it compared to your old place?" This question is perfect for showing interest in other people's experiences and opinions. It's such a friendly, caring way to ask what someone thinks. What's something new you've tried recently that someone could ask you this question about? Share in the comments. Number 10, don't mess with me. Now this is a strong expression that you need to be careful with. Don't mess with me means don't bother me, don't cause me trouble, or don't try to fool me. It's a warning that you're serious and you don't want someone to give you problems. The tone can range from joking with friends to very serious, depending on the situation. You might use this phrase when someone is teasing you and you want them to stop, when someone is trying to cheat you or lie to you, or when you want to show that you're not going to let someone treat you badly. It's important to know that this can sound aggressive, so you need to be careful about when and how you use it. I have a funny story about this one. My younger brother loves to play pranks on people, and last April Fool's Day, he tried to convince me that my favorite coffee shop was closing permanently. He even showed me a fake news article he created on his computer. But I had just been to that coffee shop the day before, and I knew the owner was planning to expand, not close. I looked at my brother and said, "Don't mess with me about my favorite coffee shop. I know you're making this up." He started laughing and admitted it was all a joke. I wasn't really angry, but I wanted him to know I wasn't going to fall for his trick. For example, if someone keeps interrupting you while you're trying to work, you might say, "I have a deadline to meet, so please don't mess with me right now." You might hear something like, "I know you're trying to get me to pay more than this car is worth, but don't mess with me." I did my research. Here's another one. "My little sister keeps hiding my keys when I'm trying to leave for work. I told her, 'Don't mess with me in the mornings, I'm always running late.'" This expression shows you're standing up for yourself, but remember to use it carefully. Have you ever had to tell someone not to mess with you? Let me know in the comments, but keep it friendly. Let's recap what we learned today. We covered so much ground today. Let's quickly go through these 10 amazing expressions one more time. We learned better than nothing, for when something isn't perfect, but it's still okay. She's a keeper, for describing someone really special who's worth keeping in your life. Hard to tell, for when you're not sure about something because it's difficult to figure out. We also learned, "What floor are you going to?" which you'll hear in every elevator. And "I could be wrong," for sounding humble and polite when you're not completely sure about something. "I'm lost" has two meanings: when you don't know where you are or when you're confused about something. "Do you have any siblings?" is a common question people ask when getting to know each other. "Fill her up" is what you say at gas stations when you want to fill your car's tank completely. "How do you like it?" is a friendly way to ask someone's opinion about anything. And finally, "Don't mess with me" is a strong way to tell someone not to bother you or cause you trouble. These expressions are going to make your English sound so much more natural and fluent. Remember, the best way to learn these is to practice using them in real conversations. Start with the ones that feel most comfortable to you and gradually work in the others. I really hope this video helped you today. If it did, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Tomorrow, I'll be back with 10 more everyday expressions that native speakers use all the time. There's always something new to learn, and I'm excited to help you on your English learning journey. Take care and keep practicing your English. I'll see you tomorrow for more fun expressions that will make you sound like a native speaker. Remember, every day you practice is a day you get better, so keep going. You're doing amazing.